If Jaws kept people out of the beach, then Vivarium kept people out of real estate agencies. The difference being, I thought I liked the ocean. It's big and fun to play in. I knew I hated real estate agents. And homogenization and gentrification, it all fucking sucks. I didn't need a movie to tell me that. I have absolutely no problem telling you exactly what happens start to finish, because I don't consider this a spoiler. The movie is so bad, I wish you don't watch it. I hope that you don't. For your sake, please don't watch this movie. It sucks. So, with that out of the way, given that you're not going to watch it, I can't spoil anything for you. In fact, you would spoil something for yourself if you went and watched this movie. It's a waste of time. Gemma, the primary school teacher, and Tom, the freelance landscaper, are house hunting. So they go to a real estate agency, they meet a creepy real estate agent, Martin, attend a house opening out of social obligation alone. It's in a very gentrified suburban area. All the houses are painted the same green. It's all very neat and tidy, and he takes them to number 9. Martin takes them on a tour of the house. They're not particularly impressed. It's got a bit of weird artwork in there. They see spare shirts in the master bedroom that aren't dissimilar to their own shirts that they're wearing. They, try to be polite again and tell Martin that they're leaving. They can't find him anywhere, and they were like, well, I guess we'll just leave. They hop in their car. With Gemma at the wheel, they turn this way and that way, and they can't seem to find their way out. And there's this montage of them desperately trying to get out of the suburb, and they can't. And they're like, I guess we'll stay in the house, see what happens. In the fridge, there was champagne and strawberries, and Tom notes it has no taste. Tom goes onto the roof. It seems to go on forever somehow, and he's like, we'll just hop the fences and stuff. We'll get out of here eventually. They try it all day. Tommy's exhausted. Forgot to mention he's a smoker. Tom gets exhausted, and then Gemma shortly thereafter. And it didn't appear to make any progress. The next day, there's a package at the house filled with food. Tom completely disregards the food. Good choice. And instead goes for the cardboard box. The food came in and lights it on fire. Remember, he's a smoker. He lights it on fire, basically burns the house down. Tom tells Gemma, I'm sending them a smoke signal. There's no cell service, obviously. They have to it's the 21st century. Their phones are low on battery and they can't get a service. Yeah, that works. Yeah, so he lights the house on fire thinking, well, this will set up a smoke signal to anybody. They fall asleep watching the house burn. They wake up. The house is perfectly fine. Important point to remember. There's another box waiting for them. This one contains what appears to be a living and breathing baby boy. Where it came from, we do not know. There is no placenta or macrojuices on it. There is an imprint on the box. It says, raise the child and you'll be released, which is a bit of a hollow promise, because it's not like they're in prison. Like they can't physically hold on to any bars. They didn't watch the cell doors get locked. They don't have the key within their eyesight without their grasp. So they don't know that anyone can let them out, but I guess someone trapped them there. It was definitely Martin. So I guess someone can let them out. Definitely Martin, but what even is the premise here? Martin's end of the bargain is I'll release you, right? Which we later find out that it's a metaphor. If they take him at his word and they do in fact get to leave the creepy suburb, what does raising the child even look like? Do they have to raise it with good morals and values? Do they just have to make sure the baby survives? Do they literally lift it up into the air and then they're like, oh, I guess they're doing what we told them to, and we'll let them out? What dictates that exactly? And raise the boy when? The humans start speaking at 2 years old. So they live there for the next 2 years and then they get to go. Develop a sense of self around the age of 8. So they're basically trapped there for 8 years, not much of a deal. Emancipate, I think it's called. To emancipate your parents at the age of 16. Most societies let people drink from the age of 18. And in America it's 21, which seems to be set in America. But they're in a suburb they can't get out of. So is it 21 is the age? Which is more than a decade. It takes a human's brain 25 years to fully develop. So is it 25 years? They're basically sentenced to life in this suburb. But like how good, like, do they need just enough to barely keep it alive? Because all the food comes from them, as well as the humanoid child. Okay, so they've got to wipe its ass and then make sure it doesn't kill itself for the next 2 decades. What are they even doing? They decide to take the baby inside with them. I guess on some level, it's like what else are you going to do? They gave you a box, there's a baby inside, it looks human, take it inside, right? They're even saying if they raise the child, they'll release you. You may as well. Like, what else are you going to do with your time? You know what I mean? But on the other hand, they go from completely rejecting the food and using the cardboard box to burn the house down to taking something inside that, fair enough, probably a human, but like, how did it get there and etc. I think logically the smartest thing to do would be leave the box there. Last time you interacted with the box and you didn't make any progress. So logically this time you shouldn't interact with the box and you would make progress. You're clearly not dealing with like simple laws of nature. They're like, oh, if we drive out the way we came in, we'll get to leave. If you set a house on fire, it burns to the ground. But this one like respawned basically. So you've got to find out what works and what doesn't. So yesterday you interacted with the box and didn't make any progress. So today there's another box. You should not interact with it. See, if logically you would make progress if you didn't interact with it. I mean, I would have left it there to see what would happen. Is all the knowledge. If I do what humans typically do, I won't gain any knowledge. So, like, yeah, obviously you leave. Not obviously. I would leave the baby there. I think logically, most mathematicians and logicians and etc. would agree the smartest thing to do is leave the baby there. But there's a primary school teacher and a landscaper, so they made a different decision. That's fine. There's then a time jump, an inexplicable time jump, because the child is in like 5 years old. Gemma and Tom don't appear to have aged 5 years. The kid, maybe like 5 or 6, has a full set of clothes and like can speak English to a fair degree. So either it was just magically upgraded, like how the house respawned, or it's been 5 years and they've taught it. It's crazy. But it mostly speaks in imitation. And I don't mean how like normal children, while they're learning to speak, use echolalia as a form of development. I mean, like, it basically sounds like an AI trying to imitate Gemma and Tom. Like, it doesn't sound like Gemma and Tom. It doesn't sound like recordings. It kind of sounds like their voice. But this kid has his own voice. Like, he does occasionally speak. Gemma and Tom wake up and like, who the fuck are you? So presumably it's the next day. So they're like, raise the child clause is put into question again, because do they even have to do anything? Presumably tomorrow is going to be 10 years old. Like, logically, this kid, whatever it is, not human, or maybe the suburb is magic. Either way, 0 to 5 in one day, the next day is going to be 10, right? So 25 years is cut down to 5 days. It screams at them. Now, I want to recap. It imitates Gemma and Tom and has its own voice, can speak English. Screams. Until finally they decide to feed it cornflakes, obviously, and milk, and like, oh, it's probably some off-brand, Greeked up cereal. I wasn't paying that close attention, to be honest. Feed it breakfast, it stops screaming, starts eating cereal. And I wonder what would happen if they fed it other things. But anyway, Gemma and Tom both eat eggs. Find out later that on Gemma and Tom's first date, not a flashback, this is all in dialogue, Gemma feeds Tom eggs for breakfast. That's basically all they have every day they're there. And much like the scene in Jaws, where the child actually kind of just like improved mimicking his dad, this humanoid kid is like, sees the mum drink juice and then drinks juice. I don't understand why or if it needs to do that, but it does. Tom has his landscaping tools with him in the car, right? So they go outside with a pickaxe. I assume they still call it that. It might be like a hoe or something. I don't know. But you go outside with this very sharp landscaping tool, and they basically wait for the next box to come, because every day there's a box with food in it, so that when the child screams, they can feed it food and it'll stop screaming, even though you can speak English. So they wait for someone to deliver the box, because they assume that's how it gets there, which fair enough. It could be a drone, but it doesn't matter. No one shows up. The idea, I think, is to kill the person that trapped them there, or kill someone who delivers the stuff as like revenge or catharsis or whatever, and then like take their resources, their drone or their delivery truck or whatever. Okay, well they can leave. So if we take their spot, we can leave. As they're waiting on the lawn for the delivery to arrive, the kid is just staring at Tom for no reason. Gemma's like, "Oh, do you want a cup of coffee?" And Tom's like, "Yeah, sure." And he has like a cheeky cigarette. I don't think Gemma and Tom have actually discussed that he shouldn't smoke. It's just sort of like a shame, like a gentlemanly thing to not smoke around your lady. It's like a mixture of like shame and honor, and like I don't want to be caught with it in case she tells me not to. It's a weird sort of. But anyway, regardless of the reason, he goes, "Oh, well, she's leaving. Perfect opportunity to smoke." He smokes all the while, kids staring at him, not imitating smoking, nothing, right? He flicks the cigarette at him, bounces off of him unscathed, which, yeah, fair enough, it might do. Like, that's fair enough. And lands onto the lawn, burns a patch of grass. Now, I want you to remember, earlier in the movie, when they set a house on fire, the next day, house respawned. Now, granted, it's not the next day, but the grass burns up. Permanent damage. It's like yellow underneath it. And Tom's like, "What? This is so weird. It looks like clay." He's a landscaper. He starts digging at it. The kid screams at them every day, which is just super not helpful. I can imagine them waking up before the kid does, pouring him breakfast, waiting for him to scream, pour the milk immediately so it's not like soggy by the time he gets, whatever, or setting up some sort of like a labyrinth contraption, that some sort of like Wallace and Gromit-esque, domino effect, where the kid is served breakfast without them having to be there. The kid doesn't need to scream at them, first of all, at all. Can speak English. "Can I please have a bowl of breakfast?" Or "Give me food." Like, even if it's rude, it can just do that. Like, it doesn't have to scream at them. They also wake up, right? There's a day cycle, basically. Sunrise and sunset. So the sun comes into the room. The big fiery, big ball of fire glares light into their room. They do wake up. So I guess they rebel every day, and the son screams every day. The kid screams every day, and they give it breakfast every day. Anyways, Tom decides enough is enough. Like, he's basically bullying you into feeding him. You're treating him like he's your son, even though clearly he isn't. And so he grabs the bowl of cornflakes, smashes it against the wall, takes the kid into the car, which they have. That's theirs. That's real. Locks the door. He's screaming bloody murder at the door. It's a little muffled. It's a little better, He's like, we're not letting him out. If he dies, if they want him to live, then they'll come get him. Perfectly reasonable, logical thing to do. That's what I would have done. I would have let the baby starve. is my point. Gemma looks into his puppy dog eyes after he stops screaming, by the way. Stop screaming. As Gemma approaches the car, kid stops screaming. Right? Which I don't know how he learnt that. They're supposed to raise him, whatever. So they got the kid to stop without feeding it cereal. They now have the power. Then Gemma opens the car door. Naughty, naughty Gemma. That's how you lose your power. It's... that pissed me off so much. I get that, technically she's Tom's girlfriend, IRL, in this weird, suburban dystopia. Maybe it's the equivalent of being married. I don't know. But it's just to not work as a team is crazy. To let the screaming maniac out of the locked car is crazy. There's no benefit from letting him out. There is a benefit from keeping him in there. And now that he's stopped screaming, you have the power. Do not give him the power back. He's also, as cute as he may be, not your son. Don't let him out of the fucking car, you idiot! Kid watches them have sex, which is weird. He keeps calling Gemma mother, and she says, no, you're not. Tom finds a weird noise at the bottom of the hole. Then he tries all night to speak back to whoever can hear him. And then at one point the kid turns on the TV. Is weird, zebra patterns. It's just black and white, basically, and static is coming from it. They don't really try to change the channel or anything. They try to discipline the humanoid kid. He grows up another 10, 20 years. It's hard to say. They aren't released yet, which is weird. Tom finds a body. There's no reveal, but it's obvious to me that the body was mutton. I mean, it might not have been. It was ambiguous enough. It could have been Tom. It could have been somebody else. The previous owners. He doesn't share this information with anyone. He gets sicker and sicker. The Gemma, the kid leaves at one point and gets a book. Gemma opens it, a bunch of hieroglyphs. She doesn't turn the TV back on to see if they match, the symbols match. She doesn't try to decode it. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't even tell Tom. It's ridiculous. Okay. Plenty of visual effects to go around, and the ADR in this film wasn't used as a problem-solving tool. Instead, they used it to their advantage, much like in A New Hope. Gemma and Tom aren't allowed to leave the suburb, and nor was the audience, as they tried to drive, turn around the corner, and then back onto the same street. The editor used this same aerial shot, rotated at 90 degrees. Same shot in there 4 times. Gemma and Tom were stuck in a domestic nightmare, nary a clue as to why. And the audience was stuck watching this domestic nightmare, nary a clue as to why. I have concluded that Quinnell, the Popcorn Society member who elected we all review Vivarium this week. I enjoyed watching the movie the first time round. No one is evil enough to recommend such a bad movie on purpose. And, you know, as they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Art is subjective. So I simply have to conclude that Kundal must have enjoyed it on some level. This movie is shit. Don't watch it, not once ever. I had to sit through a story about a couple who goes to an open house out of social obligation and can't leave the suburb once they get there. They open a box containing a humanoid baby inside it, and they take it in the house for some fucking reason. At one point, Tom flicks a cigarette, hits the ground, burns a bit of the grass, revealing some sort of weird terrain that he wasn't expecting as a landscaper, even though in a previous scene, burning the house to the ground had no permanent effect. Then later in the film, Gemma finds a book written in some weird language. Doesn't even try to decipher it, even though the only thing on TV is weird symbols. Supposedly a movie about like a couple set in the like worst possible version of a domestic lifestyle with no escape. No neighbours, no parks, no cities, no internet, no TV, nothing. They're stuck in there, and I'm stuck watching them. And for what? Don't trust real estate agents? I never did. Avoid homogenization and gentrification? Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. This isn't my first day on Earth. I know the difference between serenity and dystopia. I didn't need a psychological thriller to teach me that. Trust me, I implore you. Do not waste your time watching this movie. If you need something to do for the next 98 minutes, watch this video again. Watch The Cat in the Hat. Have a snack. High-five your friend. Eat a burger. Go outside. Sit in the corner and stare at the wall. Do not watch this movie. It's bad. And also, I told you everything that happens in it, and I tried to guess the theme as best I could, and that's probably it. It's a shit time with no reward. Don't watch it. You'll notice I'm ranking Vivarium at the very bottom. I would rank it lower if I could. You'll also notice that I'm ranking it 1,221 out of 103 movies that I've reviewed so far. It is, simply put, the worst thing I will ever force myself to watch. It's the worst movie I will ever watch. In fact, it's the last movie I've watched directed by Lorcan Finnegan or recommended by Quaylen. Do yourself a favour. Do not watch this movie. You're better off watching a different movie or video or doing literally anything else with your God-given 98 minutes.